Greetings, YouTube. This is a health log, and in this book I have recorded all kinds of data, well, mostly blood pressure and my glucose levels, for the past 6 years. In fact, I have a new one. I just started it up. It's only got 2 lines on it, and this is a really nice notebook. It's from the Greenbrier International Incorporated. And I wish I'd picked up more of them. It's got, the paper takes ink really well. It's got nice hard covers. I like this notebook a lot. Maybe I should see if I can find more of these. These are just some kind of standard notebook I picked up along the way. I think I picked it up at a grocery store for a song. And in this, I've recorded every glucose reading I have taken over a 6-year period. Now, for those of you that don't know, your average person, your blood glucose level should run between 80 and 120. 100, of course, being perfect. And I check this, most days I check it in the morning when I get home from work. And one day a week, normally Wednesday, I do a before and after my dinner. And the idea behind that is to see how fast you bounce back from processing, your body's processing your meal. So what you want to do is you want to know what your reading is before your meal, and you want your after reading to be 140 or under. So you're allowed a little more leeway in the 2-hour post-meal because your body is still processing the food. And that's perfectly healthy. If anyone else had that range, you're fine. And the last reading in this particular notebook, before I finished it on the 16th, it was a before dinner reading of 99, which is close to perfect, and the after reading, which was 2 hours after I finished my meal, of 125. And again, that's 15 points below the maximum they want me to be in, the comfort zone. So by these numbers, I am effectively not diabetic. I am diabetic. I still have retinopathy. It's not bleeding at the moment, but I have had it. And it is a danger I have to keep an eye on. Well, actually, my doctor has to keep an eye on because I can't see the back of my retina. And I still suffer from neuropathy, loss of sensation in my feet, and then the nerve pains that accompany it, which are oh so much fun. That's sarcasm. And those are some good numbers. And in my morning, running in here of like what, 105, 114. I had a high of 121 in there, a 96. 106, so yeah, not too bad. And I also got some blood pressure readings like 115/60 with a pulse rate of 51, 116/59 with a pulse rate of 58. So my readings, my blood pressure and my pulse rates are pretty consistent. I usually sit at the computer for 5 minutes and then I take a reading. I like to give that consistent amount of time so I come to a standard rest state as opposed to sitting here for like an hour and you're really relaxed, depending on what you're watching. Yeah, don't watch conservative or socially conservative news pieces. Your blood pressure will spike like mine does. So, what were the readings at the beginning of this logbook 6 years ago? Well, back then I was doing readings before my breakfast and before my dinner because I had a different breakdown at that time for my readings. And my reading at that time. Now remember, 80 to 120 is the norm. Before breakfast on January 26th, 6 years ago, was 262, and my before dinner reading was 267. Remarkably similar, and well over twice the limit that they want me to be at. In fact, I think if I look in here, yeah, there's a after lunch reading, which was a late lunch, and I cut myself a little slack. Of 417, and the before breakfast reading on that particular day, which was the 31st, was 317. These are not healthy numbers. Those numbers are indicative of a person that is completely and utterly out of balance, a diabetic that does not have their blood glucose levels under control. And because of this, my doctor put me on an oral medication, metformin, I believe it was. And then eventually she put me on insulin. But over time, she took me off the insulin and eventually off the metformin. And the readings I spoke about in the beginning, the 99 and 125, those are readings that I have acquired excuse me, through nothing but diet and exercise. And so my new for example, on the 17th, my before breakfast was 106, which wasn't too bad. Before breakfast on the 18th, this morning was 113, a little bit high, but not too bad. And again, within the 120 range, and it varies. And my blood pressure was 122/65 with a pulse rate of 59. Now, what's interesting is there's almost no correlation for me between my hunger level and my blood glucose levels. This always confuses me. I can be ravenously hungry and have a blood glucose level near 120, and I can have absolutely no hunger and have a blood glucose level of 85. There doesn't seem to be a correlation, though there are times when I can actually feel my blood glucose levels fall. When my sugars get low, I can kind of sense that, and then I will go find carbs. A favorite carb for me in that moment to use would be pretzels. I like the salt, the crunch, and because they require some chewing and absorption, it's a slower carb release than just like an orange juice. That's a really fast hit. I don't necessarily want that. I want a little slightly slower. I want my body to have to process the food a little slower. Also, if you take protein with your carbs, anyone who does this, it will help your carb absorption be slower, so you'll have more of a nice like this, as opposed to, you know, something like that, which you don't want. Nobody wants that, diabetic or not diabetic. You want a nice, slow, gradual curve of up and down with few spikes. So I was really quite happy with these results. I mean, I'm far better now than I used to be, and I use a pedaling device on a daily basis. Pretty much that's all I've been doing in the last couple of years. Just because it's convenient. I can pedal at my desk. I can be watching videos. I can be reading. I can pedal in the living room if I want to while I'm watching a movie. So pedaling is something I can do on a regular basis. And on average, I pedal 7 days a week. And I pedal usually for an hour and a half, 90 minutes in the morning and 90 minutes in the evening. And that's the average. Today is my long day. It's Friday. I have been awake for over 24 hours at this point. And I only pedal once. In fact, when I get this video done, I'm going to probably start pedaling. And then Saturday I'll pedal once. And then Sunday I'll pedal once. Those 3 days I pedal once, and the rest of the week I pedal twice. So I'm always making sure I get some kind of activity, and I usually do something on the weekends. I'll go for a light hike or something. But yeah, I'm much better than I used to be. My blood glucose levels are far healthier, and I'm not in desperate danger of slipping into a diabetic coma, because 417 is really friggin' high. That's not good, man. Whew. I'm really glad that we did eventually catch my diabetes, though I studiously ignored it for far too long, which is why I can't really feel my feet and why I have healing problems and immune system problems, because I'm diabetic. Yay. But I kind of found it interesting that looking at the retrospect over the course of my my logbook over a 6-year period, going from 262 down to a 99 is really, really nice.